Hey everyone, it's Mr. Taylor here. I've got a video today, the first of a series that I'm going to do on English Language Paper 1, Section A. So English Language Paper 1 has actually got 5 questions. But question 5 is called Section B, and that's the writing one. So I'm going to do 4 videos, one video addressing each of the questions. And the question we're going to address today is question 1. All right. So to answer this question, you're going to need to read a source, which just means extract from The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which I'll put a link. Actually, no, I'm not going to put. I'll put a link in the Google Classroom thing for you to download it if you want to, or it is also in this PowerPoint, so you can just follow along on the screen. All right. So English Language Paper 1, Section A today. So with all of these questions, all 4 of these questions, there's 3 steps that you have to take. Okay. So the first step you have to take is you need to read the question, read the cue, and then you also need to highlight keywords, which I will tell you how to do in a minute. So you read the question and then you highlight keywords. You do that before you read the source. After you have read the questions, look at that, oh, that's good, isn't it? After you read the questions, you then read the source. I'm going to keep using this word source. All it means is text. Okay, every time I say source, what I really mean is text. But in the exam, they're going to call it a source, so I'm going to call it a source with you so that you get used to that word. Okay, so you read the question, highlight the keywords, then you read the source, and then the last step is you answer the question. And this step here is the step that each of my videos, 4 videos on these questions, is going to show you. So today in this video, I'm going to show you how to answer question 1, and in the second video, I'll show you how to answer question 2, and then so on and so on, question 3 and question 4. These steps here, though, they're always going to be the same. You're always going to read the question first and highlight it, and then you're always going to read the source after you've read the question, and then you do this bit here, this little bit here, which is how to answer the actual question. Okay? So looking at a step then, first one is to read the question. Let's read the question. This is the question we're going to do today. Section A, reading, answer all questions in the section. You're advised to spend 45 minutes on this section. It's about a minute per mark, so this question should only actually take you about 5 minutes. Read again the first paragraph of the source, lines 1 to 7. Lists 4 things from this part of the text about Shmuel's life before the soldiers came. Okay, so have a go just in your head now. Just pause the video and have a little think. What do you think you would highlight in this question is the key words? And keywords basically means it tells you what to do. They're the important words in the question. So, for example, I don't know, for example, is probably not going to be a keyword. You could probably get rid of that word and you still know what to do. So have a think. What do you think the keywords are in this question? Okay, so reading through this then, read again the first paragraph of the source, lines 1 to 7. I would say first paragraph and lines to 1 to 7 are pretty key, because if I write about stuff outside of those lines, I'm not going to get any marks. That's going to be wrong. So if I write about lines 1 to 7, I'm good. So that's probably a keyword. Right, list 4 things. They've even made that bold for me, so I know that's a keyword. List 4 things from this part of the text about Shmuel's life before the soldiers came. Oh, let's just get rid of that. Before the soldiers came. So these are really, really key, because if, for example, I just did Shmuel's life and I didn't do before the soldiers came, I might write something about Shmuel's life after the soldiers came, and then I'm not going to get the mark. To get a mark, I've got to write something about Shmuel's life before the soldiers came. So they're keywords as well, all right? So we've looked through, we know the keywords, we've highlighted them, or we've put boxes around them. So now we're ready to do step 2, which is to read the source. So I've blocked the source down into chunks for you. So just pause the video and read the part on your screen now. Make sure you read this box at the top here as well. Okay, do that now. Okay, now here's the second page of the sources. So read through all of these too. And this glossary at the bottom, by the way, is the little numbers relate to the other parts in the text. So if we go back to the slide 1, where's the little number 1? Where is it? There's a 3. I can't see it. There's the 2. Probably should have found this before I started recording. I can't find it. It doesn't seem to be here. What on earth? Anyway, well, we can see a number 2 here. So in this line it says, I came home from school and my mother was making armbands for us from a special cloth and drawing a star on each one. Then there's number 2. If we look to the glossary at the end, there's a number 2. It says, Jewish people were made to wear armbands with the Star of David to make them stand out. So this just gives you a bit of extra information about all the bits and pieces in the text. Okay, so you've now read the source, you've read the question, and you're ready to answer. So the answer to the question for this one is really, really easy. All you have to do is just you highlight the answers in the text. You make sure your answers are about the focus of the question, and you write your answer in a sentence. So, like I was saying to you before, this is key. This is key, this is key, and this is key. So if I'm doing all of these things, it's correct. If, for example, I wrote Shmuel is scared, right, because he's scared of the soldiers, that's wrong, because it's not about before the soldiers came, because you can't be scared of the soldiers before they came. Okay, so you need to make sure your answer is about the focus of the question, which in this case is Shmuel's life before the soldiers came. Then you need to answer in a sentence. Okay, so you should pause the video now and have a go at this, answering in full sentences, and then what I'm going to do is I will then answer the questions too. We can go through them together and you can mark yours. Alright, so pause the video now, have a go at that. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at those. Let's go through them together. So I'm looking for 4 things about Shmuel's life before the soldiers came. I'm going to go back to the text. Right, let's read it together then. This extract is from a novel written in the 21st century but set in Second World War. It is about a rather unusual friendship which develops between 2 boys. Bruno is the son of a German soldier who has been sent to work in a concentration camp. Oh, there's that one I couldn't find earlier. In Poland. He meets a Jewish boy called Shmuel who has been sent to the camp with his family. They make friends by talking through the fence which divides them. All I know is this, began Shmuel. Before we came here, I lived with my mother and my father and my brother Joseph in a small flat above the store where Papa makes his watches. Every morning we ate our breakfast together at 7 o'clock and while we went to school. Papa mended the watches that people brought him and made new ones too. I had a beautiful watch that he gave me, but I don't have it anymore. It had a golden face and I wound it up every night before I went to sleep, and it always told the right time. Okay, so I'm looking for anything about Shmuel's life before the soldiers came. So he says, before we came here, I lived with my mother and father. And my brother Joseph in a small flat above the store where Papa makes his watches. That's all about his life before. So he lived with his mother, father, and brother. So that's the first thing I'm going to write. So I'm going to write, he lived with his mother, father, and brother. Full stop. Got a capital letter at the beginning, a full stop at the end. That's a full sentence, so that's one answer, and that's correct. Notice in this is actually one sentence. I live with my mother and my father and my brother Joseph in a small flat above a store where Papa makes his watches. Actually, this is 2 different answers because it's got who he lives with and it's also got where he lives. So that's the second answer I can put. He lived in a small flat. So I can put he lived in a small flat. Full stop. And that's right as well. You can put that the flat was above the above the watch shop if you want to, but you don't have to. Every morning we ate our breakfast together at 7 o'clock. There we go. That's another one, isn't it? Every morning. So we'll put he ate his breakfast at 7. Full stop. That's correct as well. And then we need one more. I had a beautiful watch. He had a beautiful watch. Okay, I'm going to write that. He had a beautiful watch. Full stop. Notice how what I didn't do is just write down the answers without going back to the text. Every time I wrote one, I went back to the text to make sure that it actually does say that, because it can be easy to get confused, especially if you're stressed out in the exam itself. It can be easy to think, oh yeah, it said he had an old watch, so you might write he had an old watch, but that's not right. This is a beautiful watch. So you need to make sure that you go back to the text to make sure 100% that what you're writing is correct. Okay, to see if there's anything else you could have had in here. his dad mended watches. So I don't know if you put. I would stay away from his dad mended watches because it's not really about Shmuel. It's about his dad. So I probably wouldn't put that one. He wound up his watch before he went to sleep every night. That's fine. You can have that one as well. Okay, so you've got 4 answers there. You got them in sentences. So email me and let me know how many marks you got out of 4. That's a very quick bit of work today, so it's only short. If you need some extra work, if you want another little bit of work to do, what you can do is produce a piece of creative writing from Shmuel's perspective. Okay, so from Shmuel's point of view, imagine life, his life before the soldiers came. Write a couple of paragraphs from his perspective, and then email that through to me as well. Right, but you don't have to. You've been working very hard the last couple of weeks, so if you want to just have a bit of an easy day today, just do those 4 questions and then send that through to me. All right. Hope you're all well. Take care. See you soon.